Training Camp Day 3 is officially in the books for the Chicago Bears. And even though it might be a long weekend for some of us, I couldn't stay away. Too much happened today not to talk about it. This offense needed to show some life. And thankfully, we finally saw some sparks from Caleb Williams and the first team. So let's break it all down. What went right? What still needs work? And who's standing out early on in camp? Now, through the first 2 days and change. Let's be honest, the offense was sluggish. Caleb wasn't getting much time. Receivers weren't separating consistently, and the defense was just straight up winning most of the matchups. But today, there was finally a shift. It wasn't perfect. Far from it actually. But there were flashes, and that's what you want to start seeing at this stage, especially from your franchise quarterback and the unit built around him. In the early full team periods, where it's offense versus defense in regular game-like setups without much situational tweaking, the defensive line continued to dominate in stretches. Montez Sweat, in particular, was causing problems from the jump. He beat Darnell Wright on at least to separate reps, forced Caleb to throw the ball away on one and would have had a clear sack. On the other, you could just feel his presence. And look, it's important to keep perspective here in non-padded practices. The defensive line tends to have a natural edge. It's a lot easier to win in those situations when you're not going up against the full physicality of offensive linemen in pads. That being said, Sweat made it clear he's already in mid-season form. But the offense didn't stay quiet the whole time. Caleb managed to find Olamide Zaccheaus on a nice little bootleg rollout. He faked the handoff, rolled to his right, and hit Zaccheaus dragging across the field for a gain of around 8 yards. Nothing flashy, but it was smooth and on time. And that's what you want from those types of plays. The best throw of that stretch, though, a beautiful deep crosser to Roma Duns, about 25 yards down the field. One of those throws that makes you sit up and go, yup. That's the #1 overall pick right there. Clean pocket, confident delivery, tight spiral. That play might end up on the Bears' social channels soon, and honestly, it deserves. Still, those 3 team periods had a bit of everything. Some promising flashes, but also plenty of inconsistency. You could tell things weren't fully in rhythm yet. That continued when they shifted into the red zone portion of practice. And this is where things got a little rough. The first red zone sequence for the starting offense was, in a word, brutal. 5 plays, 0 completions, 0 points, and to interceptions. First play, Zaccheaus drops a ball that hit him right in the hands. No excuse there. Second play, slightly tougher contested catch for Cole Kmet, but still one he'd probably say he should have brought in. Third play, they went for the corner fade to O'Duns. There may have been some contact, possibly a jersey tug, but no flag. Incomplete again. Fourth play was the ugliest. Ball tipped and intercepted by Jaquan Brisker. Fifth play, Caleb forces one into traffic, and TJ Edwards picks it off. Just a complete breakdown in execution. And it was one of those moments where you're thinking, please tell me that's not how practice is ending. Thankfully, it wasn't. They got another crack at it in the red zone, and this time the offense responded. 4 plays, and this time, they capitalized. First one, a front pylon attempt to DJ Moore, but Tyreek Stevenson had tight coverage and batted it away. Second play, a run with Roshan Johnson that got stuffed, but then, back-to-back touchdowns. Caleb found Rome on a crossing route for a score, and then followed that up by working through his reads and zipping one into Zaccheaus in the back of the end zone. Much cleaner, much more composed, and exactly the kind of bounce back you want to see from a young quarterback after a shaky stretch. That momentum clearly carried into the final part of practice, the 2-minute drill. 8 plays to get into field goal range, and they got the job done. First snap, quick hitter to O'Duns. Second one, Caleb escapes pressure and checks it down to Adree Swift, who drops it. Third play, the play of the day from Caleb, and maybe the best of camp so far. He takes off, the defense loses contain, and he scrambles for 40 yards with blockers in front. Just pure instinct and speed. That's why he's so dangerous. Fourth play, short out route to Zaccheaus. Nice gain. Fifth play, another drop by Swift, this time on the left side. Possibly a wheel route, and by all accounts, it could have gone for major yardage. Sixth play, false start by Aussie Trapilo. Tough penalty at a key moment. Seventh play, Caleb rolls left and finds Devin Duvernay for a big gain. First time Duvernay's really popped in camp so far, and then finally, a short completion to Zaccheaus that sets up the field goal. Drive complete. Offense finishes on a high note. Look, There were still mistakes, a couple of key drops, the penalty, some missed throws. But there were also signs that Caleb is starting to settle in, and when things do click, you can see how explosive this unit could become. It's still very early, and we're nowhere near seeing the finished product, but there's a path here. You can feel it. Now, speaking of guys making noise, JP Richardson continues to impress. We talked about him during OTA letters, and here we are again, day 3 of camp. And his name keeps coming up. He had that crazy one-handed catch earlier this offseason, and now he's stacking solid practices. Today, he had multiple catches at one point. He and Tyson Bagent were linking up back-to-back while running with the third-team offense. The chemistry is real. Bagent and Case Keenum have been rotating between the second and third units. And today Bagent was working mostly with the threes, which meant more reps with Richardson. And he made them count out, of course. Context matters. Bagent was going up against the third-string defense, while Caleb is battling against the starting D, and Keenum's facing the second unit. So let's not overreact, but the bottom line is, Richardson's playing well, he looks confident, and he's catching everything thrown his way at this point. It'd be a surprise if he doesn't at least land on the practice squad. He's got return ability too, something he did quite a bit at TCU. So watch for him to get a few chances in the preseason to show what he can do on special teams. Switching gears to injuries and player availability, a few updates worth mentioning. Jalen Johnson wasn't out there today, not exactly surprising, but we do have a bit more clarity. While the team is calling it a few weeks, word is it's likely to be closer to a full month. That would put him on track to return somewhere around late August, which gives him to 3 weeks before the opener against Minnesota. My guess, he doesn't play in the preseason. Probably sits out the joint practices against the Dolphins and Bills too. But if he can ramp up a couple of weeks before week 1, he should be fine. Jalen's a vet at this point. He knows the system. He stays ready, and he doesn't necessarily need a full camp to be effective. Now, that week 1 game is going to be huge. Justin Jefferson on the other side is always a challenge. And even though there's a chance Jordan Addison might miss that game due to his off-season situation, the Bears will need Jalen at or near full strength, and even if he's not 100%, you could see them scheme extra coverage to help, roll a safety over, bracket if necessary. It's early, but that first test is already looming large. As for other players not practicing, Braxton Jones was held out, but that was a scheduled rest day. He's been ramping up slowly, doing individual work and walk-through reps, but hasn't participated in full team drills yet. My guess is he's probably not going full speed by Tuesday, which is when the pads come on for the first time. Maybe we see him ramp up more aggressively closer to those joint practices in early to mid-August. Could be the 8th against the Dolphins or the 15th against the Bills. Either way, he's trending in the right direction. Just not quite there yet. Luther Burden still isn't practicing. No surprises there. If he's going to return soon, it'd most likely be Monday, after the scheduled off day on Sunday. Zay Frazier remains out as well, dealing with a personal issue. No timeline yet for his return. And then Yamar Turner, who tweaked his ankle on day 1, is still sidelined too. It's early, and none of these seem too serious. But the Bears are clearly being cautious with their young guys. Colston Loveland is a name worth keeping an eye on. He's continuing to ramp up, doing plenty of individual drills and working through technique, but hasn't had much action in team reps yet. Still, he's out there moving well, which is a positive sign. No rest days for him so far, which tells you the staff believes in his development pace. Overall, it's been a mixed bag through 3 practices, and that's pretty normal at this stage of camp. You're installing plays, testing combinations, and figuring out where the chemistry really exists. The offense isn't humming just yet, but it doesn't need to be. What you want are signs of progress, accountability, and bounce back. And today, we got some of that. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are growing louder across the NFL landscape, and the latest buzz has sent shockwaves through the Bay Area. Could Nick Bosa really be on his way out of San Francisco? According to several unnamed sources close to league insiders, there's talk that the 2020 Defensive Player of the Year is considering a dramatic switch, leaving the 49ers and potentially signing with the Chicago Bears, while nothing has been confirmed by either camp. The mere suggestion of Bosa departing the team that drafted him 2nd overall in 2019 has already sparked fierce debate among fans and analysts. Some insiders believe tensions have been brewing behind closed doors in Santa Clara, perhaps over contract renegotiations, scheme disagreements, or long-term vision. Others claim Bosa has long admired the defensive legacy of the Bears and could be enticed by the prospect of becoming the face of a rebuilding Chicago franchise. Eager to reclaim its former glory, Bosa, who signed a historic extension with the 49ers just last season, is still under contract, making any potential move far from straightforward, but that hasn't stopped the rumor mill from spinning at full speed. There are murmurs that Chicago is prepared to make an aggressive push, leveraging both cap space and future draft capital to lure the star edge rusher to Soldier Field. Could a blockbuster trade be in the works, adding fuel to the fire? Bosa was recently seen dining with a prominent Bears executive in a private Chicago restaurant. Those sources caution it could have been a casual meeting. Still, in today's NFL, even casual meetings can carry deep implications. If this shock move materializes, it would be seen by many in San Francisco as a betrayal, especially after the organization invested heavily in Bosa as the cornerstone of its defense. But as history shows, loyalty in football often takes a back seat to opportunity, legacy, and business. Is Nick Bosa truly preparing to swap the red and gold for navy and orange? For now, it remains speculation, but in the NFL, where smoke often leads to fire, this is one story that's worth watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.